Hey, it's Ryan. Welcome back to another 650L video. Today I'm going to be following the Clymer's manual to remove the rear shock. When I was searching on YouTube and online to find a guide for removing the shock, I couldn't really find anything that followed Clymer's manual. There's a video on YouTube that's about 10 years old, and it seems like a good video, but he does it a little bit different than the manual. So I'm going to show you the manual, and I'm going to go by step. So if that's something you're looking for, this is going to be it. We're going to jump into it, and hopefully it helps you out. Okay, jumping into the manual, we're going to be in chapter 14, page 275, and it's shock absorber removal / installation. Step 1, which we already did, the bike is up on a stand with the rear wheel off the ground. And then step 2 is going to be removing the airbox, and it tells us to go back to chapter 9. So chapter 9, we are going to be removing the airbox. So we're going to start there. It says remove the seat and both side covers, which we've already done if you saw the intro, and we're going to start there. So step 2 for removing the airbox says remove the screw securing the mudguard to the rear airbox. All right, these two rusty bolts, hopefully yours don't look like that, are the two bolts that are holding on the mud flap to the rear of the airbox, and they are 8 mil. Step 3 is loosen and move the hose clamps and slide both crankcase breather hoses off the fitting on the top and the base of the airbox. We're going to take the vents off of the airbox. I don't know if this is considered a vent or a drain, but that's where we're going to start since we're at the back anyway. Switch sides. And then for the crankcase breather, this bike has the emissions removed, so there should be one up top. I just have the bottom one, so we're going to remove that. And then we're going to tuck these out of the way because we are going to be pulling that airbox out. And then step 4 is open the wire tie wraps and disconnect the wiring harness from the top of the airbox, which we're going to try and not do that so we don't have to use new zip ties, but we'll see once we get there. I was hoping to not have to cut any zip ties, but this is actually zip tied through the airbox, so this one's going to have to go. And then I think we can get away with just that. Step 5 is loosen the clamp screw, then move the hose off of the carburetor air inlet hose at the front of the airbox. All right, so this is a little backwards if your bike is assembled correctly. Mine is not. This hose clamp was just a rusty, nasty mess, so I'd never put it back on. But right where this groove is going to be, where the airbox is connecting to your carb, you're going to want to loosen that up so that you can move the boot as we remove the airbox from the carb. So again, make sure this is loosened up when it's sitting on there, kind of probably something like that, so that you have free play. Step 6, remove the right bolt and the left bolt and the ground wire securing the airbox to the frame. Remove the bolt and washer from the right side of the airbox. All right, now we're going to be removing the two bolts that are holding in the top of the airbox, here and here. And they're 10 mil. So there's one more bolt on the right hand side of the bike. It's right behind this wire that's holding in the airbox. Because of the age of this little wire retention, I'm not going to try and pop it off. I'm going to get a wrench in here and see if I can't back it off. All right, I end up just kind of forcing it off the little wire harness there. I couldn't get to it, so which I'm glad because it was already, I don't know if that was me or this bolt seems a little rounded out anyway, so we'll probably replace how I was putting things back together, but I don't know, just goes to show, take your time, don't break anything, and make a project even longer. Step 7, carefully slide the airbox out of the frame from the left side. All right, and now for the fun part of trying to squeeze this airbox out of the left-hand side. So again, it's going to be coming out towards us or towards the camera I imagine I'll do some fast forwarding here as I work my way through wiggling this thing out of the frame. Just make sure you're watching your wires on the top. We don't want to pinch any of those during the process, right? All right. Okay. As I struggle my way through there, it looks like the best way to do this, you're going to take the boot part. This is the only flexible part. This is all hard plastic. Is kind of bend this over the rear shock once you get enough room, and it comes out. All right, back to the manual. We're done with chapter 9, which is the airbox. We're back to chapter 14. Support the motorcycle with the rear wheel, done. Remove airbox, done. Piece of cake, right? We don't have a 600R, so we're going to skip that. Step 4, remove the upper shock absorber nut and mounting bolt, figure 1, which I'll show you, and allow the rear wheel to drop to the ground. So figure 1 is up here, and then I'll show you on the bike as well. All right, so we're at the top of the shock with the nut and the mounting bolt. I just tried already, and this thing is pretty stuck on there, not surprisingly. A lot of stuff on this bike has been stuck. A lot of like old debris, which I'm assuming is going to be dried up Loctite or just grime and gunk. So I'm going to hit it with some heat and see if I can't loosen up, try again. If not, I might have to go grab a breaker bar, so we'll see. All right, I forgot. Hopefully you didn't seal up your carb inlet. I'm sitting there with the freaking heat gun blowing stuff around. So paper towel, shop towel, whatever you got, just make sure there's something on there. All right, we got it heated up. Let's see if we can't get this thing off. I kind of got my camera in the way. Let me readjust here. Oh my goodness. It's spinning on the other side. All right, breaker bar's out. Let's see if we can get it now. There we go. So it's a 14 on the left side, that's 17. All right, so the nut is off the right-hand side. I'm just gonna, with my left hand, I'm grabbing the rear wheel, just lifting slightly to take the pressure off, and the bolt comes right out, and then the tire drops, and it's now on the ground. And this is loose. Step 5. So this is us, a 650L. Remove the shock link to the arm bolt, figure 2, then remove the dust seal caps. All right, doing my best here. So you can see, but here's the shock link to the bolt arm. That's what we're removing here. That's our next step. It's the same as up top. So on the right hand side of the bike is 17, which I imagine is going to be just as stuck. So we got the breaker bar, and then it's a 14 on this side, and it's just an absolute mess down here because of when the shock blew out. And this one actually isn't bad, and it's not even spinning on the other side, which as a one-man job, kind of a blessing here. So see if I can't get the ratchet on there now and back it off the rest of the way. All right, there's that. And I imagine we're gonna have to do, just lift up the rear wheel a little bit. You're just trying to remove the tension. I gotta switch sides This would be so much easier with another person. I'm hitting the rubber chain guide on the bottom of the swing arm, so it's not backing itself out. All right, you can see I got it out. I just a little bit of finesse. There's a groove on the bottom rubber part of the chain guide, and I just had to get over there. Sorry for not moving the camera. If you have questions about it, let me know. But just go over on the other side, and you'll see the groove, and it just pushes out of the side. This is what I'm talking about. This little groove there. You just gotta, you'll lift the rear tire. See if I can do it. You'll lift the rear tire, and then it ends up lining up. And you just work yourself so that it lines up. All right. All I did was lift the shock up, so we have access to these dust seals. We're just gonna pop these off. One on each side. Nice and greasy. Step 6, move the upper end of the shock absorber rearward and then turn the upper end to the reservoir is to the rear. All right, so here we are back on the top of the shock. As I said, the next step, you're going to pull the shock towards the back of the bike. The reservoir is, let me put this back a little bit. Reservoir is here. We're just going to rotate the shock. It'll twist so that this is towards the back. And then we should just be able to lift. Step 7, remove the lower shock absorber bolt. Figure 4, then remove the shock absorber from the left side. All right, so now that you have the reservoir turned to the rear, the shock is pulled up. It's just this one remaining bolt down here, which is going to be 14 mil. And then check this out. I have absolutely nothing on the bottom end of the shock, so that's pretty wild. So let's get this thing out of there. Wow, it is just, look at that shock. It's just slopping around in there. I cannot get this thing. Hold on. All right, hopefully that's enough. We can get the ratchet in there now. Hopefully. All right, there it is. See the big reveal for what's left inside of there. Just, oh, there's something. Whoa. All right, now that everything's loosened up, I'm back on the left side because we got more room without the exhaust in the way to finagle the shock out. And there we are. Rear shock out of the 650. All right, this is something I didn't really account for, although I absolutely should have during this rebuild process. It's just how slop everything is. Like that's wild. There should not be that much play. So back to the internet to order a kit. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And then I'm also tempted to just do the swing arm at the same time since everything's apart. But that'll be for another video. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. That should be everything you have removed to get the rear shock out. Seat, side panels, airbox, rear shock, and then some of the 2 shock bolts and then 1 bolt for the linkage. So that's where we're at for now. I really think I'm going to pull the rest of the linkage off and maybe even the swing arm and just do a deep dive into all the seals and bearings and bushings and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for tuning in. If you have anything that would be a tip that you've done that would make the process easier, let me know. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and I'll try and get you steered in the right direction. But thanks for watching, and yeah, have fun with the 650, and we'll see you next time.